Welcome to your County Lines and Gangs Awareness Programme, part 1 of 4. My name is Phil Church and I shall be your narrator for this session. This NCFE Endorsed Programme for County Lines and Gangs Awareness has been brought to you by Solucious Equinox, aligning your training needs. This program has been broken down into 4 learning videos. There are 2 learning videos for County Lines and Gangs Awareness, and the final 2 are for gang related injuries. This is video 1 of 4. You need to watch all 4 videos and answer a quiz at the end and achieve at least 80% to achieve your certificate at the end. The videos can only be viewed in the order they are in and cannot be skipped forward. They can, however, be paused. So if you need to leave your video for any reason, you can come back right where you left off. So it is vital that you pause the video if you need to leave at any moment, as questions will appear that will ask you if you're still there or to check for learning. If you fail to answer them, you may be sent back to the start of the previous checkpoint. The agenda for this session. After some introductions and needs and expectations, an overview of the content, this will be part 1 of your County Lines and Gangs Awareness session. And at the end of that session, there'll be an area that you can use how to post questions that you may have for us. Our company background. We were founded in 2018 after my co-director Jason Hunt and I left the police earlier in 2018 after 22 years and 15 years police service. And these are the police services that we work for, and we will recruit trainers for 5 years, training and teaching newly recruited police officers in law and procedures and training transferees. And these are just some of the companies and partners that Jason and I have had the privilege of working with since then. If you'd like to know more about our professional background, please feel free to speak to us at the end of this session or visit our website at soluciousequinox.com. Take a moment to think about what your needs and expectations are of today's online County Lines and Gangs Awareness session. Please note that there may be some images and subject content which may cause upset or distress. Just because we've been in lockdown due to the global pandemic concerning COVID-19, don't think that the problems associated with county lines have gone away. Matters have simply been put on pause, and businesses will go back to normal as restrictions which were placed on our lives are slowly loosened. There are scores to settle, new markets to explore, and vulnerable persons to exploit. And a key action in the government's April 2018 serious violence strategy is to raise awareness of county lines across key sectors of health, housing, education, social care and youth offending, in order that staff working in these frontline settings are able to identify and refer county lines affected individuals and help prevent exploitation. We want to make it clear, state the government, that our approach is not solely focused on law enforcement, very important as that is, but depends on partnerships across a number of sectors such as education, health, social services, housing, youth services and victim services. So the aim of this session is an awareness of county lines and gangs, grooming, exploitation of young people and vulnerable adults, and we will be covering what constitutes a gang, child criminal exploitation by gangs, how gang exploitation affects young people and vulnerable adults, who is vulnerable to gang exploitation, county lines gangs activity, signs of grooming and exploitation by gangs, and your responsibilities. The governments state that we must prevent people from committing serious violence and being drawn into exploitation by building resilience, supporting positive alternatives and providing timely interventions at the teachable moment. And a teachable moment is an unplanned opportunity that arises in life or in the classroom, where somebody has a chance to offer an insight to others that are affected by this. A teachable moment is not something that you can plan for. It's a fleeting opportunity that must be grabbed. A good example is after a car crash, where a life being saved or a life being lost by the use of or not using seatbelts can be learned by others. Well, what is a gang? The term gang is routinely applied to any or all groups of young people involved in antisocial behaviour. And groups of young people are not necessarily gangs, and mislabelling them has negative consequences. Indiscriminate use of the label could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if a group of kids or young adults hang around with each other who are classed as a gang, they may find that they're attributed to becoming a gang and therefore become one because they're being labelled as one and become involved in the criminality aspects that become with it. Police forces and other agencies have had different perceptions of what constitutes a gang. And academics struggle to agree on a universal definition of what constitutes a gang, and we need to differentiate between delinquent youths and gangs. The Metropolitan Police used Halsworth's and Young's 2004 definition to define a gang, and that states that it's a relatively durable, predominantly street-based group of young people who see themselves and, importantly, are seen by others as a discernible group for whom crime and violence is integral to the group's identity. Strathclyde Police, who are now Police Scotland, used a 2004 Home Office definition of what constitutes a gang. And that stated that it was a group of 3 or more people who associate together or act as an organised body for criminal or illegal purposes. And this demonstrates the difficulty in agreeing a universal definition of what constitutes a gang. The Centre for Social Justice have used and utilised the following definition of a gang, and they state that it's a relatively durable, predominantly street-based group of young people who see themselves and are seen by others as a discernible group who are engaged in a range of criminal activity and violence. They identify with or lay claim over territory, such as postcodes or other town areas, and have some form of identifying structural feature. They have hierarchical structure, they have foot soldiers, colonels, brigadiers, generals, all kinds of ranks that you would find within the military service. And they are in conflict with other similar gangs. If you take the media and the gang members' portrayal of gangs, you'll see that it's populated with the myth of fast cars, fast money, weapons, open access to sex and drugs and drill videos. And drill music is a type of hip-hop that's characterised by its distinctive so-called trap-style beat and ominous sounds. And the music videos are then posted online, featuring hooded and masked gangs threatening each other with lyrics about drugs, guns and stabbing rivals with knives, usually from other postcodes or other town areas when the rivalry takes place. But the reality of that myth is sadly people being macheted, violenced, forced into silence, having their doors put in by the National Crime Agency and the police, forced into stabbing wounds with stoma bags having to be attached, mass serious injuries, murder in some cases, narcotics and drug addiction, homelessness, having their fingertips cut off and badly bruised and beaten, including the women, and the main media portrayal at its black on black crime, and that is not the truth. Gangs are portrayed in media and in the news as being black and black on black crime. It is not. It can affect any race, colour or creed where these people can become involved in gangs. And that simply is the myth versus the reality. Identified risk factors for serious violence. These risk factors can be broken down into component parts of the individual, the family, school, community and peer group. For the individual, childhood abuse and neglect. If there's been elements of this in the past or there's current elements of this happening now, there is a risk factor for them becoming involved in serious violence. Impulsivity. They may have low self-control. They may be aggressive. They may be surrounded by those that are aggressive and this is the only emotion they know. They may have low intelligence. They may not attend school, so their attainment results are very, very low. They may have substance use. They may have a positive attitude towards offending and they have no fear of being caught. They're already involved in some form of antisocial behaviour, whether that be graffitiing an underpass or knocking bins over or smashing windows or bottles. They've previously committed offences and for some they may have a criminal record. Some people regard that as having a badge of honour. They may have low self-esteem. They may already be a member of a gang or know people who are gang members. They may have a head injury. And for some that makes them instantly vulnerable and open to exploitation. And for some with a head injury, it means that they have no control over their actions or what they say or do. In the family, the socio-economic status, whether they're high or low, antisocial parents, including substance abuse. They have poor supervision in the family, so they come and go when they please, and they go to bed when they please, if they go to bed at all, and they're out till all hours. Their parents themselves may be involved in criminality. At school, they have low school performance, or their attainment has dropped off. They were high attainers, all of a sudden it started to fall away, giving you cause for concern. They may be bullying others. They may have started becoming truant and have school exclusion. In the community, takes place within high urban areas of high crime and local deprivation. And the groups they hang around, their peers, are delinquent. 63% of young people responding to a survey stated that the main reason for carrying a gun or knife was for protection. And it's important to remember that not all groups of youths engaged in antisocial behaviour or criminality are in a gang. And labelling youths as a gang can be harmful and become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the Centre for Social Justice definition of what constitutes a gang is a helpful guide to ascertaining if someone you are interacting with is a member, being exploited, or groomed by one. If you would like to complete this online NCFE endorsed program, please visit our website at soluciousequinox.com and select County Lines and Gangs. only £35 for individuals. For organisations and bulk prices, please contact us for further details.